Welcome to the Content 10X Podcast, the show where content creators learn how to harness the power of content repurposing. And now, your host, Amy Woods.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Content 10X podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and this week we are talking all about TikTok for business and how to repurpose TikTok whilst not using TikTok. So don't run away if you're not on TikTok, if you don't know what it is, or you think it's just for kids, because this episode may just be for you. So please don't run away. I'm not actually going to talk about how you can rock on TikTok as such. I'm sharing how we can be inspired by TikTok for our content creation endeavors. Now, what is TikTok? You may have heard Gary Vaynerchuk talking about it an awful lot. If you have teenagers, you're going to know what it is for sure. Now, it's a social media platform. It's actually a social video app. And a little bit of background. So in China, TikTok is known as Douyin. I think I'm saying it right. Douyin. And that was the forerunner to the TikTok app. And it was launched by ByteDance, the world's most valuable startup, in 2016. And then TikTok officially made its overseas debut in 2018 when it merged with Musical.ly, if that's how you say right, musical.ly. So what it is, it's 15-second videos. You can post longer than 15 seconds if you kind of string different videos together, but it's mainly always 15-second or less videos that are posted on the platform. It's very much for mobile viewing. And it's really funny, I heard the analogy that if you imagine Snapchat, Spotify, Vine and Twitch joining together or having a little baby, what they would have is TikTok, because it's that merging of short videos and music and kind of collaboration as well. So there's lots of singing, there's lots of lip syncing, lots of dancing, lots of skits, pranks, comedy. You can do these duets as well, which are these kind of cool collaborative features that they have that allow you to make it possible for somebody to post a video alongside yours. So you can do remixes and spoofs and things like that of other people's content, or you can dance together, lip sync together, whatever it is. So there's the duets, and there's also these react videos that you can do as well. So that's the collab feature. Lots and lots of music. It's always very musical, and it's short social videos. You can actually live stream on there. So that's a feature that those of us on other platforms are very familiar with already, live streaming. And they have a discover feature where you can discover different accounts. So it's all like the other platforms, very heavily algorithm based, and they have hashtags as well. So that's TikTok in a nutshell. I really recommend that you just go and download the app and have a look at TikTok. Now, the users are mainly young. So 41% of TikTok users are aged between 16 to 24, according to Global Web Index in 2019. But the number of adults on TikTok is growing. So I don't know whether this is basically parents turning up to their teenagers' party, which is what it maybe seems like with adults on TikTok, but it really, really is growing. Now, according to Sensor Tower, over 1.5 billion users or downloads on iOS and Google Play have taken place. And TikTok was the fourth most downloaded non-gaming app in the world last year in 2019. Now, there's lots of users in China and India. That's where it's most prominent with those users, but it's been downloaded over 123 million times in the United States. So it's growing in the US and the UK and other countries, and adults are starting to use it as well. Now, I think some of the contributions to this are things like brands and celebrities that are getting onto TikTok. So I noticed recently that the Late Late Show with James Corden have been having lots of fun over there. One of the main contributing factors of TikTok's rise in popularity in the US from around 2018 was when The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon started to really get involved in it. And they were doing challenges hosted by TikTok on the app. And that partnership got a huge spike in engagement and downloads with adults in the US. Now, talking of an adult US audience, Edison Research bring out the Infinite Dial report every year, and they brought out the 2020 report in March, and I talked all about this in episode 130 of the Content 10X podcast, where I shared my key observations in relation to the Infinite Dial report for content creators. Now, this was the first year that TikTok played a role and featured in the report, and the findings were really interesting. So this is based on adults in the US, people aged 12 plus in the US. Now, 64% of people were aware of TikTok and 11% overall were using TikTok. Now, I think it's really interesting that so many people are aware, yet not so many of the overall population. 11% is high, but not, as high as some of the other social platforms. Awareness is high because people are sharing their TikTok videos on other platforms. TikTok make it really easy to share, as do most social media platforms, but they make it really easy to share your TikTok videos over in Instagram stories, which is where I'm seeing lots and lots of TikTok videos showing at the moment. And I think that's making people more aware, even if they aren't using it. It also showed that 25% of 12 to 34-year-olds are on TikTok in the US. Only 3% are 35 plus and using TikTok. And that 25% seems quite low for 12 to 34. I think if it was 12 to 20, that'd be really high because all those younger people are using it. But because it goes all the way up to 34, that's why 25% is not as high as you would think it would be for what we would call a younger group, because it's not that young when it goes up to 34. Something that I have noticed recently in the current coronavirus pandemic is more people are using TikTok at the moment. I think it's such a fun and different platform. People are in lockdown, self-isolating, social distancing, and looking for fun and different things to do. And sometimes when you go on TikTok, you can't help but just get drawn into it. And I see lots of people who are older than the young kids now embracing TikTok during lockdown. And I think after COVID-19, we're going to see a big uprise in TikTok usage out of the pandemic, which is an unusual outcome of the pandemic. But I do think it's causing TikTok to rise even higher at the moment. Hey, just a little break from this podcast episode to ask you a question. Would you like one single place that you can go to that provides you with everything you need to be able to implement the best practices in content repurposing for your video content, your podcast episodes, and your social media content today? To help you get more value from the content that you create, get more time back, and help you reach more people than you ever thought possible. If so, then you are going to love the Content 10X Toolkit. The toolkit is full of video tutorials, templates, checklists, swipe files, step-by-step guides, and more that shows you how to repurpose your content in the best ways possible today. No more Googling, no more figuring it out yourself. We provide you with everything that you need to become a content repurposing pro. If this sounds like something that would interest you, then go check out the Content 10X Toolkit at content10x.com/toolkit. Okay, and back to this week's episode. Now, I share my TikTok story. So I posted a short video on Instagram of me jumping on sand dunes. And if you regularly listen to this show, you'll have heard me talk about this before. But I posted this video just of me jumping on sand dunes in a slow-mo. And somebody said that would do really well on TikTok. And I wasn't on TikTok. I didn't really know what it was. But a few days later, I was on a train and had a little bit of time. And I just downloaded the app, posted this video of me jumping on sand dunes to TikTok and left it. I actually completely forgot about it. I didn't follow anyone. Nobody was following me. And I don't think I posted a description. I certainly didn't use any hashtags. But a few days later, and I was thinking, I wonder if anybody at all saw that TikTok video. I went and had a look and it was going viral. I think at that point I'd had over 100,000 views, but in the space of not very long at all, I got to nearly 500,000 views, I think over 5,000 followers and lots of likes for this one video. So it went viral. So that was my first ever experience of TikTok, which was quite funny. Now, I haven't had the same experience since. No more viral videos. I've posted a few more videos, nothing has happened. But what I want to show you today, something that I've been doing, is I find TikTok to be a really, really great place to get creative inspiration from. Now, it is a really different and unique platform, and I think that most likely the content that you post elsewhere may not be suitable for TikTok. So if you are posting content to, Facebook or LinkedIn, even Instagram, I don't necessarily think that it could be suitable for TikTok. So you really need to spend time and get to know the platform and really, really understand what people are doing on there to start posting there and having, success on there. But whilst I'm figuring out how we could use it for business, whether I think we can, and the jury's still out on that, I think, what I like to do is study the fun and creative things that people do over there. And I think if you're the kind of person who creates fun content or the kind of business that wants to give out a fun vibe with the content that you create, or you want to start doing that, so start injecting a bit more fun and creativity into your content, then you really should look at what's going on over there and take inspiration. Now, for example, when it was International Podcast Day in 2019 last year, I created a TikTok video of me. So if you head to content10x.com/126, the blog post that accompanies this podcast episode, you'll see it there. I'll post the video there, but it's kind of a little bit hard to explain. You could also go to TikTok, just get an account and go and search at content10x, and you'll sure enough find me there. But it was a video to a song where the lines were, "I used to be so beautiful, now look at me." And you change your clothes in a fast jump cut. So you're wearing a certain outfit, looking a certain way. Then you kind of bring your hands down and suddenly you change and you're wearing something else. And I just did a fun version of this. This was going viral. That type of video was going viral on TikTok. So I created my version where I was originally old me in my corporate days with my suit on and looking all serious and stern. And then I pulled my hands down and I was wearing kind of casual clothes, a hoodie. I had my headphones around. I think I put my headphones on my head actually. And it was just paying tribute to the world of podcasting and how I no longer work in my old corporate job and I'm now a podcaster and creative. And it just looks really well. It works really, really well. And I just saw all of this going on TikTok and thought, how could I do that and relate it to my business? And I shared that. I put it on TikTok, but the purpose for it wasn't for TikTok. I shared the video on Instagram, even on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I shared it in the other places that we post content. And it got really, really, really good feedback. People loved it. People thought it was new and different and creative. And I guess people who weren't on TikTok, which probably was most people in my audience, didn't really know that I'd taken that inspiration from TikTok. I did put in the comments that based on, TikTok videos, but they hadn't seen millions of these on TikTok as well. So it seemed, really different and really creative as well. And it was just something really fun to do. And something else that I did actually is when my book came out and I was looking for fun ways to create content for promoting the book. I did a TikTok inspired video where I am pointing to different places on the screen and there's a song playing and I'm showing people what they can repurpose through pointing around on the screen. And again, if you go to content10x.com/126, you'll see these videos. Now, that was totally on brand for us because we do like to put fun content out there. We're a creative agency, so we need to show that we can be creative. And I thought it was a really good call to do that. And I continue to look and get inspired and wonder how I can incorporate what's going on over there, all that creativity, and make it directly relevant to our message. So my call to action for you today is to work out whether you think that that's the kind of content that you could be creating in terms of giving off a fun and creative vibe. It may not be for you at all. I completely get that depending on your business. But if you're looking to create more fun and creative content, then go and get a TikTok account and just start to look at what's being posted over there. And if you do post content on there, you can actually cross post from TikTok over to places like stories as well. So they make it super simple if you want to cross post. And if you don't want to create content for it, then just be a lurker and look at what's going on TikTok. I think you may find that you will be inspired and may be able to relate some of the styles over there with your business content. And I'm going to share a lot more about TikTok over the coming months, repurposing content for TikTok for podcasters, video creators. So there's more to come on this, but this is my first podcast episode specifically about TikTok. You know, my point is you don't necessarily need to go all in there, but it's good to know what's going on over there. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Content 10X podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you don't have a copy yet of my book, Content 10X, More Content, Less Time, Maximum Results, then please do go and get a copy. Just head to content10x.com/book. It really is the ultimate guide to repurposing every single type of content. And do follow me on social media as well, at Content 10X on all of the social media platforms. Also, if you're interested in getting help with your content repurposing, then please do also head to our website, content10x.com. We offer a fully end-to-end content repurposing service where we create and publish all of your repurposed content for your podcast, your videos, your live streams. So if it sounds like it would be of interest to you, then do go and get in touch with us. All that's left to say is thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.